You don't like the GOAT comp, PogChamp and chat?
I like the GOAT comp, but I just don't. Why does everything have to be about GOATs now?
I mean, it's greatest of all time, man.
I know, but I mean,
you know, like Mango.
But it's not. I mean, with Mango it was funny, but that was like years ago. Okay, it's not funny anymore. Let's be real.
You know,
every time something slightly okay happens, it doesn't have to be the greatest of all time.
Before I realized what it actually stood for, I thought people were calling him the GOAT because he had the beard, and I thought they were saying he looked like a goat.
Well, I think that was part of it. I mean, I think that was part of why the name stuck so well, because he has some goat-like, you know, appearance traits. But anyway, we are going to see just the Widow Junkrat on defense here, not the defensive Genji, but on attack, we may just see them run the tank composition. They're going to hope for a good time by here as Panthera runs Decay on the Genji. So switching it up again in terms of DPSs.
Decay taking a very roundabout approach here, trying to get into the back, but already a lot of shifting coming through from the side of WGS. But Arrow taking down from the side, not looking at Youngjin. He snipes him out. He gets a body tag there on Keanu, taking him down to about half HP. Now going to push up close and personal here with this Hanzo. Trying to get them taken down point blank range. Drive onto the high ground, Roar just trying to get rid of Arrow. They managed to do so with the follow-up here from Decay. As KongDoo Panthera looking for a very swift take here onto point A, and getting rid of Z-Bag is going to do them a lot of favors in getting that done. First tick already gained, looking for the second now, as Decay is building up very rapidly for this Dragon Blade, trying to chase down onto FaZe and knock him out of that mech.
Yeah, the whole tower has collapsed here for the defensive WGS. There's no high ground control. Dragon Strike gonna clean this room out. Decay gonna grab that kill on the last row, but like you can't set this up again. You can buy a few more seconds, but that's all you can get.
Yep.
That's going to be the cap. Doesn't even want to use this blade. Wants to try to snowball this into a double cap. Good time buy here by Arrow, at least.
Couple more seconds. Still going to be about 6.5 minutes here on the clock for the side of KongDoo Panthera, though. They have a Dragon Blade. Transcendent's going to be on the way. Youngjin going to actually swap over to the Brigitte here.
Yeah, already expecting that they will have their own defensive Brigitte and or Genji here on point B. The Riptire timing window is closing, though. They want to hit the blade before then. They do have the Transcendents still close, but not ready. Like, it's 85%. They're going to open with Valkyrie first to get Decay into position. Here comes the Blade.
Yeah, Blade into the back. Going to be looking for Keanu. Finds him with the dash. Decay still going to be alive. Has that armor. Help keep him sustained. Riptire going to be coming through, pushing up through the catacombs, looking for an angle. Jumps in over the side. Only 8 HP remaining, but still managed to get the pop there on the Luffy. Does not have the Transcendence ready to go. Or had it ready to go, rather, but doesn't use it in time. Self-destruct going to be invested from the side of FaZe, looking for a pick. Manages to get rid of Roar. Transcendence now out from Luffy. Arrow locked in, stun coming in from the shield bash, but Youngjin traded out. His FaZe comes up with a follow-up kill. It's going to be the Divas swapping out for their Brigittas. Nearly 2 ticks gained from KongDoo Panthera on that first assault, but they burn out through the Dragon Blade. Don't have that, don't have a Transcendence now, so they're going to have to do some eco pushes to build up these ultimates.
Now let's see if they want to stick with this Genji. It looks like the answer is yes. Now, we talked about how KongDoo Panthera, they were exposed, their dive is weak, but Decay has had some hit or miss performances on the Genjis, and when he does hit, he hits hard. This is an opportunity for him to show himself again and to, unfortunately for Choya Swan, perhaps guarantee a further spot on the bench. Decal is helping to knock out this Winston. The Discord was there. No one's really on the point here. There's a pretty disjointed attack by KongDoo Panthera.
Yeah, rally ready to go, going to be popped now. Youngjin just trying to use this basically as an amp up like we see from the Lucios. Transcendence in from Lastro. He's got plenty of armor here ready to go. Handed to him by Arrow, but now another Dragon Blade built up. Decay into the back, looking for the Zenyatta. Finishes them off with that swipe. Now looking for Decal, dashes through, gets the kill. Keanu trying to escape. Genji's just hot on his heels, takes him out. This could just be the cap. Getting ready to come through from KongDoo Panthera, but WGS are still all in on the point, trying to buy some time. Tight around the corner, the self-destruct not going to find anything, and FaZe was taken out, so cannot make it back into the mech. Second tick still not gained, however, as we see the Mei coming through from Lastro, just trying to buy some extra time.
KongDoo Panthera got insanely greedy. The attack was super disjointed. Now they're losing a lot of time here. They still control the point.
Still though, 4 minutes on a cap would be rather excellent for them, and Decal going to get taken out before he can use that Dragon Blade. Arrow swapped over onto that Doomfist, will be eliminated as Decay comes up with a double. Discord Orb in on the Z-Back, he tries to escape, makes it out with a sliver of HP. The Mei is back into the corner, and they are just 2% away from this cap. Yano going to be eliminated, the boot back coming through, trying to lock up everybody and anyone who enters in onto the point, including Z-Back who gets taken down. Cap comes through in the end, KongDoo get it in 3:45.
They got it. But it was certainly that first push with the Blade and the rally, it could have gone way worse. I mean, they were on the cusp of losing control of the point, having to reset a second time essentially, and then would have to walk back in with more eco pushes. They were able to in the longer fight because they have better mechanical skill, right? Take that. They were basically playing with a few fingers tied behind their back. I won't go as far as say one hand, but it was not ideal. But what they wanted, why they committed to that fight and committed the rally, was because they wanted to have a massive time bank, because they do want to run that GOAT composition, as it's become so known to be called, probably for a little bit of the attack to try to be efficient with their time bank. Or sorry, they know that they may be facing against that composition, so want to kind of limit the time that can be efficient. Let's see, you know, how this all pans out, because it may just be, once again, the Hanzo and Genji for Arrow and Decal on the attack. They're showing Widow Genji right now, but I would have thought they'd consider running the tank composition because it's so popular right now. It would throw a curveball into what you know, the defender here, in this case KongDoo Panthera, has to prepare for. We talked a lot about this last week, especially on the last match day, about as the defender you have a disadvantage in terms of strategy right now in Korea because there's so many different comps that can counter you on attack, and you can't know what it's going to be until they walk out of the gates. Well, they're gonna, looks like, just stick with what KongDoo Panthera predicts, at least in some part here. Nope, in full part. Genji will be switched in for Decal. So here we go. Just as predicted. Let's see if Decay can win out the duel versus Arrow, whereas, you know, do what Choi Seowan could not versus Decal on the Genji on new body.
Well, they're going to try to push her on the left-hand side, but Youngjin, the remote bomb goes ahead, gets rid of Lastro. Nice shot from Arrow, does take Luffy low, but cannot get that headshot to kill him. And now it's going to be KongDoo Panthera actually pushing very aggressively forward, dropping the barrier into the side room.
Yeah.
Now going to be cutting back, it would seem.
Arrow's struggling to get a grapple.
Please, God, just let me...
He just wants to get that mid-air shot, but he's going to hold it for now.
Unable to do so. Spamming coming in over the wall. Trap's going to be destroyed. Youngjin dropping this in case the dive comes through, but actually comes in from behind. Going to be going down to about half HP, but manages to stay alive and to get rid of Z-Bag. Being knocked out and eliminated here, however. The combo of Blaster and Arrow, but Koma's going to have the res. This brings him straight back into the fight.
Yeah, this is not, you know, the greatest Dragon Blade build for Decal. It's at 65 at the moment. As you can see, he's just trying to left-click through the window. You can see his silhouette right through here. Here's the Riptire. They know where he is.
Comes through. Luffy going to be eliminated in the meantime. Dyer dropping down in from below. Finds Z-Bag, takes him out. But Youngjin does die for that. Also got the pop on the mech, funnily enough. So good double combo there onto the tanks.
Yeah, Koma's going to get the res as well, so it's not really a death. It's not really a trade. It's just a big win.
Level's going to be blocking these shots.
Decal is going to have to find a way through. And I think this is his best opportunity before Transcendence is ready, when there's no Riptire. That's going to be his best shot to kill the supports.
Ding playing very far forward here, very aggressive. With that self-destruct ready to go. Decal. Blade ready. He's going to draw this one down. Ding going to get knocked out of the mech and eliminated immediately, and now Decay also will fall. It's going to be a triple coming over for the Genji as he gets rid of Luffy. Roar falling low. The deflection comes down. Just bounce those bullets straight back into Roar's face and eliminate him. Now you can see the swaps coming through from the side of KongDoo Panthera. Youngjin's going to get taken down at the end, and Decay will be moving over to the Genji himself.
So Decal has some great understandings of ult timings. You know, maybe Hyunwoo, who's communicating this, big Apex veteran, obviously all the way through to Season 2 now of Contenders. The guy's been playing Overwatch for a while. But them, you know, the two of them together have been able to identify when these weak points are. They know there's no Transcendence. They know there's no Riptire. They see an angle, they jump in, they grab it, they take it. WGS has a decent time bank now. They could potentially match the time bank of Panthera. They don't have the ult advantage as they push towards B, but it's pretty even here. I mean, certainly anything could happen now. WGS could walk away with another win here if they can finish this point B very shortly.
They're going to be trying their damnedest, but already open up with a kill there on Aurora. Last rotated out as Youngjin gets the kill, but he is going to go down. FaZe answering. Koma goes in for the res, but now dies. The anything that KongDoo Panthera do is just a trade up from the side of WGS, but unfortunately for them, it has not netted them a way in onto the point yet. Transcendence used by Lastro. And now just might have to wait a little bit longer as they get ready to try to get onto the point to get those ticks rolling through. It's going to be a swap onto the McCree here from Arrow as he gets ready to rejoin. Mirage set from Decal.
They're trying to find a way through this passage to the left side. Okay, Mirage
way out. Young Jin, yeah, it's going to be walking out, doesn't look up, gets taken down. Now a lot of shots in on the ding, knocked out of the mech. And he will be eliminated. That's 3 members out on the side of KongDoo Panthera. The WGS need a snowball that seems to get in onto the point right now. Roar goes down right before that Primal Rage becomes available.
They need to take advantage of when they have this lead. What they did not do for point B on Numbani, they need to do it here. They have a huge ult advantage. Decal, you know, he needs to stay alive.
And yet again, the K draws at the Dragon Blade, and everybody just turns and focuses down to Genji. He is going to fall. Roar goes low, pops the Primal Rage. Ding eliminated yet again, so now it's just going to be the solo tank coming through. They managed to get rid of Lastro, but Arrow on the sidelines has that Deadeye ready to roll.
Decay's going to make now the swap to the Widowmaker to better deal with Decal, who did stay alive but didn't do consistent damage after that fight. And once again, they had huge advantages in ultimates, but they could not take that window of time as Decay pulls the blade. They don't shut him down. They don't have the answer. They don't have a stun, right? And he gets a little bit unchained there and ends up wiping. So now, time bank disadvantage for WGS.
Yeah. Still need to get the finish. They got the 1 tick. Third of the way there. Can they advance? It's going to be a Deadeye coming through, but everybody just partying like the Red Sea. He's not going to be finding anything as Arrow. Has to cancel that one, but Decay will go down. He tries to zip his way through the back line. Decal pushing forward. Another Barrage nearly ready to go. Trying to focus down onto Youngjin yet again, but gets pushed back out of the air by Ding. Will be falling low with this mech. Has a self-destruct. Will commit this. As the Barrage comes down, finds 2 kills, but will get taken out by that self-destruct in the end. But KongDoo Panthera yet again are suffering heavy losses. Roar trying to stay alive, trying to get out of this tricky position. Will not be able to do so. Dangerously close to another Primal Range. WGS will start piling in onto the point as they try to tick up yet again.
Yep, and you know, they're shut down. And what did they run this time? Did they stick with the Pharah? Like, this is a, you know, this is a little bit weird. The Pharah pick got them those amazing kills on the left side earlier. Decal was able to get those picks, but they couldn't capitalize. If they can't capitalize on a huge barrage like that, like, what's the plan here? I mean, we're seeing a lot of swaps on Panthera. We saw the Doomfist for just a second. They still don't have long-range hit scan, so you can see the idea, but if he's getting gate kept out by a Genji here in the front, then what's the Pharah really accomplishing?
And this is where you really start seeing the cracks in the play from WGS. You see these fights where they're coming up with numerous kills, maybe, you know, 1 for 3 exchange, taking down multiple members of KongDoo Panthera.
Exactly.
But they still don't get in onto the point.
Yeah.
That's where their weakness really lies. They don't know how to roll off of an advantage because they're so used to not having advantages at all.
True.
Finally get just the first map win, but now Decay dropping in, has the Dragon Blade out. Looking for a couple targets, gets the hit there onto the Pharah. Gets the double jump, manages to take down Decal. And now things starting to look a little bit more hopeless for WGS to even close out the map on Anubis.
Yeah, it's really starting to look that way. Like, they might just be out of steam now. Z-Bag using the Primal Rage. He's going to switch over to the Reinhardt here. They're going to run the, let's call it the Reinhardt Zarya Brigida comp. Yeah, I like that better. That rolls off the tongue a lot more.
No Lucio. They're going for the Moira.
It's the RZB.
So they are looking for that burst healing rather than the fast move speed to work their way through the catacombs.
They know they're not going to get a sound barrier in this time bank, very likely, so they need just a quick coalescence. That would be the idea.
Yeah, Z-Bag, he's cut off. They isolated him, they pushed him out, they managed to take him down, and now it's just going to be all of WGS caught on the left-hand side, and it is just the killing fields here as Decay spams away, finds multiple kills with this Junkrat, and has a Riptire ready to roll. 40 seconds remaining. One pick with this Riptire could completely shut down the final push from WGS.
You just can't go into a choke like that where you don't know where the Junkrat is. No one's controlling him. They will make the Lucio switch now because time is of the essence. They need that speed boost here. Ciano drops down to amp it up here. Eaton is the Fire Strike. Decay's just waiting for that Riptire to buy time. No Shatter, no Graviton Surge here. 15 seconds to go, already getting chipped away.
Tosses it in, finds the double kill. That's both of the supports taken out. Now Decal and Arrow going to be falling, and this is just going to be a team wipe with 6 seconds remaining. They get the tag in for the moment here to try to force the OT, but before Face can make it back into the mech, he will die. Can't force that overtime in the end, and KongDoo Panthera will come right back in, pick up the win here on Temple of Anubis.
The third map on of Anubis in Contenders. Now they have a 2-1 scoreline there, as they do in the series. But, you know, it was not the cleanest play we'd ever seen from Panthera, but again, they're running this dive. They are putting Decay on the Genji again, which is not something we, again, have never seen from them, but it's one of their weakest compositions. So I do appreciate the idea. Experimenting with Choice I1 a little bit, running Decay dive, picking Anubis into your opponent when you didn't even expect to have map pick at all. Turning this series into a scrim, essentially, is what KongDoo Panthera is doing. And it's not a bad idea at this level of play from WGS. You know, there's a lot of things you can try, you can work on. For WGS, man, it's they've got some great DPS players that are really, I think, carrying the torch for this team right now. But on the other side of things, the coordination when the rest of the team isn't on the same page with them just falls apart very quickly. And we're seeing some puzzling and honestly baffling decisions every now and then with the compositions. The Pharah pick they stayed with forever, the late switch to the tank composition, and then just everything kind of looked silly from there. I mean, they were like, well, we're going to run this now, but we have no time, so we have to just run into the left side where we don't know where the Junkrat is. He's just tossing concussive mines into us, left clicks into us. We died in 1 second. Then he's got the Riptire. Guess what? That went bad too.
Yep.
You don't have time to like set up and make plans and try to do tricky stuff when you've got 1 minute and then you've got 20 seconds and you're switching to a Lucio to try to rush your way into tag onto the point. That's when things get messy.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what we anticipated with the swap back in for Young Jin. Choi Se-won back over onto the bench. Not sure when we'll be seeing him because KongDoo Panthera going to have a pretty tough match schedule moving forward. The next opponent after this is going to be Runaway.
That's right.
Like we said, that's the battle for first place. Already putting a dent in them and their hopes here was WGS by getting that win on Nimbani. And it's not over yet. They still could force this to a Game 5 if they can come up with a victory on Escort. However unlikely that does seem. But this does harm their chances. KongDoo Panthera already could not gain first place with a 4-0 today. Now they can come up with, at best, a 3-1. So they're going to be that much further behind, which means they need to have that much more dominant of a performance over Runaway if they want to net the first place spot and hold that and try to get the highest seed in for playoffs.
Yeah. It's, I mean...
It's not, you know, there's still a purpose for WGS in this series to come up with a victory, even though they're basically guaranteed, they're, you know, going to trials again. They're going to have to requalify. Yeah,
I mean, they're one win or one loss rather away from that being a reality, like 100%.
Yeah.
Changshik will be subbed in.
Okay.
So feels like we're going to Rialto probably.
Could be Rialto. Could even be Junkertown.
Could be Junkertown. A little bit less likely, you have to imagine, but
Route 66 sometimes. You know, you can flex between the Winston and the Reinhardt.
It is cool that this is one of our squads in Korea. I'd say the only one that's ever really done it consistently where you have different tank players based on the map. It's usually been DPSs that are the focal point of that. And occasionally, you know, in the Apex days, like a Zarya player subbing in or a Pharah player would sub out after control. But now that you can sub every map, just the flexibility that this team has shown. We saw Alpha played once for Element Mystic as well, but kind of a different situation, I think you could say. This is the Changshik fan from earlier. It says, please carry. So, yeah, Junkertown is a possibility, absolutely, but the most likely pick here is the Rialto, but feels like a suicidal pick for WGS if you're running that into KongDoo Panthera, doesn't it?
I mean, you know, it would give them an opportunity to try to put Decal back onto the Pharah, which we already know. We saw just there on Temple of Anubis trying to assault that final point. They are willing to attempt to shoehorn the Pharah into their composition. So decent chance that we see the Rialto come out. They also picked it versus Runaway when they went down to map 4 in that series. So seems like this is going to be their favorite pick, but we'll see if they're going to throw a curveball at KongDoo Panthera with the potential of that Junkertown coming through. But yeah, it seems like Rialto is probably going to be the most likely. We saw them pick Junkertown, their first series out versus X6. Then it was Rialto. We'll see what they got here today. Maybe it's something just completely out of the ordinary like Route 66, which I think we've only seen maybe once so far this season.
Yeah, that would be weird to run Changshik, but there have been moments, like historically, where we see, Changshik subbed in, and we're like, oh, okay, Reinhardt map, and then he just plays Winston the entire time. Like, that's not out of the question, especially given that, as I kind of alluded to earlier, it feels like KongDoo Panthera, despite the fact that they talked chivalry in the interview, are treating this series as a scrim rather than a televised match. The win is important because a loss here would eliminate them from first place contention, very likely. So unless Runaway loses their relatively easy match as well to close out the group. But yeah, this is an important one. Let's find out where we're headed. I think Rialto would be a wrong choice, but given the Changshik sub, we can't ignore, and that is very likely the WGS map pick, and it is. Okay,
so Rialto, as anticipated, will be coming through final map pick here in the series for WGS. If they can get the win, be forcing that tiebreaker on Achilios. Last time out versus Runaway didn't go so well. We're only able to take a single point versus them. So need to have a much better performance here today if they want to get this victory. Need to go back, channel that Nambani that they had earlier on in the series just 2 maps ago. Maybe come up with a full hold, but versus this lineup with Changshik back into the roster, seems like that's going to be a bit of a far cry hope for the side of WGS, but last chance to upset KongDoo Panthera right here.
This is Panthera's best map type in Contenders in terms of record. They are 5-3 versus the 1-6 of WGS H2. Don't forget that beyond this, both teams have played 1 map of Rialto. You mentioned WGS's failure. We saw the success once, of course, already from Panthera. So as we head into this one, it will be defense first. Changshik on the Reinhardt. No surprises. Well, I say that. Youngjin is hovering this Genji. He sticks with it, and they're not going to be running the more common Orisa start. We do eventually see the Reinhardt come through. WGS will run their attack Orisa, which I think is absolutely a given at this point. You cannot really vary that up. Arrow's looking for one of his famous flanks.
Yeah, find the shot there on the Luffy, but not going to be able to get the kill. That's going to be a very aggressive push here from Youngjin. Gets the bubble out from the Zarya, but will get taken down. Lastro able to find the kill. Now Arrow trying to duke it out very close range against Ding. Taken down to about 70 HP, and Ding is just hovering over top, waiting.
The solo support Roadhog style is getting really popular right now, and it is, of course, Overwatch League is almost exclusively this right now. Arrow switching to the Tracer here, as you guys can see. It is very...
Oh, no!
God, that happened on TV.
All right, well, it's time to swap off the Tracer, I think. Let's go back to the Widowmaker. Oh, dear. Well, Ding got to get taken down.
Anyway, going back to the point, though, it's very tough to use a Genji into this composition. Youngjin's going to try to make it work. He's got a blade from all this free left clicks into these tanks. Here it comes.
He's got to draw it out right as that res comes through in on the decal. Deflection coming up perfectly timed, denying that initial shot, finds a double kill. He would love to get up there. He goes up way high, and Hyanu is going to be going off the side of the map there alongside FaZe. So hold coming through like, well.
I was so close to getting you.
Oh, poor Arrow, dude.
That happened, man. You know, the coach said earlier he's nervous in televised matches more than scrims. He's living in KongDoo Panthera's scrim right now.
Yeah.
Okay, Decal's got a Dragon Strike ready.
Oh, nice hook comes through, but great reaction from Decay.
Oh, the Shatter, though.
Keeps him alive. The Shatter just rips them all to pieces. Changshik gets the stun there. Honda Lastro takes him down. And if you remember, like you said, KongDoo Panthera played this map once. It was versus Meta Bellum.
Yep.
They full held them on that run.
Yeah, they certainly did.
So this was a very bold, a very wild pick for WGS.
And going back to that, it was mostly off of Ding winning out the Pharah war and actually circumventing the Reinhardt. As you see, WGS switch to the Pharah for a second, switch off of it. They've got a big mental block right now as to what to run, what to do. Hyanu on the Lucio. You know, sometimes this happens. It's like writer's block, but it's composition block where you're losing a series, you're being mechanically outclassed, you keep switching and failing, and the whole team is in disagreement about what the comp is. It does scream lack of strong shot caller. Here comes the grab.
Barrage going to be coming down right in above them. Not going to be that much damage actually registering for Ding, but the rest of the team is there to clean up the kills.
It's enough.
A near wipe coming through, phase out of the mech at the moment, trying to spam his way back in, but will just be eliminated by Changshik with that fire strike.
It does speak to a lack of shot calling on the side of WGS, and that's where, you know, some of these advantages, like the ones they had on Numbani, the ones they had on Anubis, you know, these non-capitalizations on huge situations in which they can use their ultimates to get ticks, get pushing power, get contests on point A, point B. They're just not making it happen. As Ding is uncontested at the moment.
Yeah, and Youngjin's got another Dragon Blade that's going to be Z-Back going down. The bubble going to be tossed up, looking for the swipe here on the Lucio.
He should get the Zen as well.
Just go ahead and zap him down.
Where is it?
He dies, but, well, there you have it. Res
he saw, I love Youngjin there. He sees Lastro and he sees Hyunwoo as well. And he goes, okay, if I kill the Lucio first, I get both. He's already figured that out in his head. He already knows. That's why I said he gets this in as well, because I could tell the way he was moving. He's like, yeah, they're both dead.
I'm not sure where Arrow is trying to creep in from, but I don't know how much good it's going to do. 8 seconds remaining. WGS.
Shatter almost ready.
They
and
pull off a magical push here. As you say, Shatter is going to be up.
The bubble is the only way to shut this down, obviously, besides positioning.
Yep. Changshik does go low. Pushing forward. Bubble going to be burned already. It's going to be eliminated. Throws it down, but actually the leap comes in from the Winston, keeps himself alive. The Shatter's going to whip. Self-destruct gets rid of Ding. Changshik going to die. And Lastro now has this Transcendence ready to go. Buffy uses his pulse bomb up from Arrow. It's going to be the bubble in from the Zarya, keeping him alive here for the moment. They dive in deep, however, and they manage to get rid of this Zenyatta. Changshik was eliminated yet again. Z-Bag with a primal rage goes into the backside. Youngjin does fall. WGS have to try to transition this into a point A push. Seems like it might just happen.
Yeah. I mean, that was a bit of a forced play by Changshik to use that Shatter. He saw the bubble break, and he, you know, just as many Reinhardts will, you have that instinct of like, that's the moment I shatter, right? And my team's going to be there to pick up the pieces.
Great reaction from Z-Bag.
Yeah, it was already a lost fight, and Z-Bag got away. So he has halfway to another one, but
Ding.
I think this will be point A.
Take it out, a double knockoff from Decal now, sending him into the river. Fluffy and Decay rather, both go down. Decal, again, back onto this Pharah where he feels most comfortable. That is going to be the point A completed by WGS. 2.5 minutes bought onto the time bank for them. Youngjin waits.
Yeah, he's waiting to try to grab the supports if possible, but Lastro has a Transcendence, so he's going to need more than that pick. In fact, Lastro is just on cart escort duty. The grab, I think, is a better way to approach this. You can grab if they transcend, then you pull the blade right afterwards while they're still grouped up. I think that's the best way to engage here for KongDoo Panthera. They do just grab Lastro before he can pull the transcendence, but do it without a blade.
Cal going down, Youngkin traded out, pulse bomb coming through, Arrow not gonna find the stick, and the supports manage to stay alive as the res comes down here. Goes back forward, finds the clip in onto Luffy, eliminates him, and now no res available for Coma for quite some time, but they're maintaining control over the bridge at the moment as they sit in onto the card, 1.5 minutes remaining. Decal trying to find these direct shots, but at this range, trying to get rid of things. It is a bit of an arduous task. Dashes in straight into the barrage. Youngjin, no!
They do it the opposite order here that I mentioned earlier. They use the blade first to initiate.
Like a
now that he dies, they can't use the grab surge. He's going to make the switch over to the Brigida.
Oh man, like a fly into a trap. Just gets zapped to death. Rush just destroys him. That was an interesting play.
Certainly so. I mean, obviously, usually you win out as the Genji in those moments, but he didn't have deflect or clearly didn't press it quickly enough. And there's not much else to say about that. But Decay has the grab. They still have some time before this hits point B to set up for the grab. FaZe is, you know, a deterrent here. Let's see if he can eat that Graviton Surge, or if we're going to come up big with one, as Z-Bag's disrupting the front line here.
He's into the back.
There's the grab.
Coming down. Only found 2. It's going to be the tanks locked in. They will get eliminated. 30 seconds remaining. Going to be pretty crucial members to eliminate. Maybe Diva just going to be hopping off the side of the map, and Arrow going to get staggered out here. Decay pushes forward. Tries to even get the right-click shot in on the Decal.
Yeah.
This guy's confident.
I mean, he's got 100 energy. It's going to do a ton of damage.
Oh, yeah.
It'll
rip him to pieces. But.
Yeah. But, I mean, the key here is that this was a success. Ult efficiency at an all-time high here as they only use the grab.
100 energy, FaZe way too far forward. He is just going to get melted down. Knocked out of the mech. Something's not going to be used. Shatter off screen. Changshik looking for the hits. Lastro pushing forward. Has the Transcendence ready to go. A nice shot Will get rid of the K as the barrage comes down from Zing, but he doesn't really have a target. Yano doesn't hit the ground, doesn't tag back into the point, but even then seemed like it would have been a pretty fruitless effort here for the side of WGS. A nice push. They managed to get the OT into point A, buy themselves some extra time, and get just shy of point B. Now they need a monstrous defense to stop KongDoo Panthera in their tracks and extend this to a 5th and final map.
KongDoo Panthera, you know, they come in as massive favorites today. But outside of Oasis, this is not, or sorry, Achilios,
yeah.
This has not been a dominant series. You know, there have been a lot of mistakes. There have been some tunnel vision moments, you know, especially on the sides of the Pharah, the Reinhardt. These grab surges have been, you know, I think what is the glue that holds everything together.
Hello.
No, he's not camera shy, man, at a young age. That guy, maybe he'll grow up to be a superstar.
He's getting in there.
But KongDoo Panthera, they have a lot of tools, and this is one of their best maps to now just close out the series, but I can't confidently say that this will be all she wrote before we start this. I mean, we often do on some of these escort maps say, well, you know, they tried their best on attack, but this is the better team, and let's see what they try to run here. But in this case, I feel like there's a very real possibility that WHS brings us to a tiebreaker because we're just not seeing the cleanest play out of Panthera today.
And that's, you know, insanity when you think about it. The possibility that that could occur. But WHS have shown some moments of brilliance so far in this series, Numbani especially, with that full hold.
Yeah,
as one of them.
Arrow has been very, I want to say hit or miss, mostly on the hit today, but if he could just tune up some of his weaker points and then, you know, manage to get his team behind his decision-making. Oh.
Well, that's a good start.
Yeah. I mean, I think the team would be better off as a result. The coach clearly has seen his talents when he was picked up a long time ago in Season 1.
And the poison trap set up on the left-hand side as well, just to watch for that flank. So good spotting here by Arrow.
Panthera, again, just skipping the Orisa, just running straight into the Reinhardt because that's a Changshik hero pool thing. As Ding avoids the Pharah, we'll be running with Youngjin on the Hanzo this time.
Nice tag from Ding, does take down to half HP, but he'll get healed back up. Barrier getting broken, another one tossed down. Discord Orb onto face, but he kites back out of sight, keeping himself alive and just denying a lot of that poke with the defense matrix. Now we'll charge over. As Changshik goes down, Decal finding the hits there with the Storm Arrows, and Youngjin gets his head taken off. Arrow playing back, manages to find the shot there onto the Genji. And all that KongDoo is going to trade is a mech pop onto phase.
Yeah, and they had high ground advantage. They had the angle there, the kind of flanking angle with the Widow. And KongDoo Panthera just walked into a valley where they were being shot by multiple sides. The Widow hits connect. And Arrow is yet again with Decal. The DPS is on this squad, really making KongDoo Panthera squirm. I mean, they're really struggling to use this tank comp to full effect. This is a choke where we could see a Dragon Strike, but he wants to save it for a better opportunity.
Changshik already down to half. It's going to be the Dragon Strike straight in on top of the Reinhardt. He doesn't go down, though. Just kites his way back out in onto the cart and gets pocketed up by the Mercy. They trade back. Decal going down, face dead. The rest comes through from Coma on the Luffy. And with WGS suffering this heavy of losses, Arrow in the back going down. Seems like this is going to be very easy cap onto A on the second attempt just about. So we'll go ahead, push that through. 4.5 minutes to make it just shy of point B. WGS, do they change things up? Because right now they are still getting staggered. Even more coming through as Decal gets ready to drop yet again.
Yeah, I think that with Youngjin on this Genji, you need to pull out the Brigida. But who's going to play it? If you run Decal on the Brigida, you lose a lot of your flanking power and tank bursting power. If you put Arrow on it, you lose your range. So they're just unwilling to make either of those things a switch. When your star players and the players that have been doing the best for you are your DPSs, you can't sacrifice one of them to run a Brigida. It feels, the meta calls for it, but in this case, they will not do it.
Grab ready to go. Youngjin, in the meantime, he's way far behind. He's into the back line, just shutting out everybody on WGS. Doesn't manage to find Arrow, but he's the only one remaining, and he's still just sitting there somewhere, hovering nearby.
The card's out of control.
HP. That's the only ultimate that they used. Everybody else died. They have 5 ults ready to go. They have to Graviton.
And imagine if they had just one stun to shut that down from happening. That was the most ult efficient
They have to
blade.
push through this choke, basically.
Yeah, that's all they've got left to do here. Changshik's waiting for a shatter here. He's got the bubble. Transcendence is way early.
Hits it straight into the corner of the Dragon Strike, going to be rolling through. Finds a lockdown. The Transcendence comes out, but it doesn't matter. They're just away from the cart. They can't get in there, and KongDoo Panthera will be able to close out Rialto. Will take this series with a 3-1 victory. But WGS, they definitely made them work for it, which is not what any of us would have anticipated coming into today.
Yeah, I just feel that WGS, had they started the season in this form, we might have seen a different scoreline throughout the entire group stage thus far. It's a little bit too late to have your DPSs start to carry and to have this much success. On the other hand, KongDoo Panthera shows yet again that their dive play is still leaving a lot to be desired. And in a meta where you can run these tanks, the Reinhardt Zarya, sometimes the quad tank, the Brigida, when you can run those and find success with it, I think it's easy to avoid playing what you're weak at. They try to play it today. They train a little bit in this, what I've been calling a scrim for them. But it does make you worry when Runaway is getting better and better at running the tank composition. Bumper's really stepped up his Reinhardt, and they are fantastic at dive, and they've run the tank now. That's multiple layers of play that so far I feel like we have yet to see from KongDoo Panthera. We saw them struggle again last season with Decay on the Tracer, sometimes on the Genji. Mediocre results there. And then, you know, this season, the meta changes. They can just play the tanks almost every map. With Ding showing great Pharah on control. But, you know, they look to be big favorites by a lot of analysts in their eyes because of the meta. But if there's any shift, or if there's, you know, a team that ends up outclassing them in tanks, I think their dominance will fall apart as quickly as their dive compositions oftentimes this season have as well.
Well, it's certainly not the largest gain of points that KongDoo would have liked here today. But they struggle against WGS, then perhaps they don't deserve to be our first place team. They still will have an opportunity to try to overtake Runaway on Sunday with that first match of the day. But if they're going to be in this form, going up against the likes of Hoxall and Stitch, with Bumper, who has been probably our best tank so far in this, in this season of Contenders, I don't know if they're going to be able to come up with a win.
It's going to be all about Youngjin versus Hoxall, like in most cases, right? On the Brigida versus Hoxall's Genji.
Sure.
I think that's going to be kind of the defining factor there. I think trying to outdive Runaway is a horrible idea, and they're going to have to kind of go back to the drawing board and try to figure out how do we counter dive more than anything else. But yeah, not the dominance we expected. A little bit of experimentation, clearly, especially with Choi Se-hwan coming in. But yeah, KongDoo Panthera, it was a little bit shakier than they would have liked.
They tried some stuff out, it didn't work out, but even then, a lot to clean up on Temple of Anubis, especially Rialto.